Gentlemen's clubs in the UK. The best gentlemen's clubs in the world. Many people have heard about gentlemen's clubs in Great Britain and have seen them in films. These private clubs are one of the best examples of cultural traditions in the United Kingdom to survive to modern day. These luxurious mansions that line Pall Mall and James Street cannot be entered by purchasing a ticket. Outsiders are simply refused entry. The air of secrecy of these clubs attracts attention and arouses enormous public interest. For centuries, journalists have been trying to get inside. Women, who to this day are prohibited access, dress up as men, and the rich jostle in vain for recommendations to gain membership. But to know exactly what goes on in these elegant mansions, you need to be a real member of the wealthy elite. The history of gentlemen's clubs begins in the 17th century with coffee houses, which became very popular and fashionable at that time as a place where people of different social levels socialised and debated. In those days, cities were not yet divided into prestigious and poor areas, and the windows of mansions could look out over slums and taverns where longshoremen drank. Some people think that London is still like this. Rich aristocrats were looking for places where they could calmly and, most importantly, safely spend time without being bothered by what they considered to be the lower classes. And the first establishment that began to offer relaxation for rich slackers was the coffee shop, which was opened by Francis White, the anglicised name of Francesco Bianco. His establishment served not only coffee and hot chocolate, but also alcohol, and most importantly, you could play cards. In those days, gambling in public establishments was prohibited, so understandably frequenting this coffee shop was not for everyone. The stunning success of the Whites became the impetus for the opening of other establishments with similar services. However, despite the competition, the oldest club has persevered to the current day. During the club's heyday, rules began to be formed. At first, the ethos of the clubs was based on friends having fun in establishments where no one would bother them. This is how they described spending time there in this era. Drink the sun's warmth and the moon's icy glitter, and taste that the dead and the yet-to-be-born cannot, the potency of this world. Emmanuel de Maupassant, The Gentlemen's Club. As the number of visitors grew, they divided into groups and organised their own separate clubs, the two oldest being Brooks Club and Boodle's Club. Membership was incredibly selective. It became difficult to join the club. A recommendation from 2 current members was required. Even with that, new memberships were put to a vote from all club members, who could still choose to reject membership even with the recommendations. And the new member of the club had to be accepted unanimously. This resulted in an exclusive and tightly knit group who were all in each other's confidence. Members of the clubs sought isolation and closeness, and no longer wanted to gather in other people's establishments. By the way, the owners of the coffee shops, where club members entertained themselves in separate rooms, were not members of these clubs. They only rented out the premises. The aristocrats wanted even greater privacy. They began to buy buildings for the club. In 1799, the first club opened, where club members became co-owners, and the club was financially supported by its own members. They owned the premises, hired servants, and prepared food. This is why club members never leave tips for the staff at the club. After all, No gentleman would think of tipping in his own home, and the club was really a home where you could eat and sleep. Depending on the size of the club, the building would likely be a purchased luxury mansion or a large built building with beautiful architecture and a high ground floor, so the ordinary people could not peer in through the windows. Following the example of the aristocracy, people of art began to form their own clubs, like Literary Club. Their club, the Athenaeum Club, became an example of neoclassicism. Other clubs also amazed us with their luxurious interiors. Back then, there was no way to turn off the phone, so the men came to their second home where they would not be disturbed and they could do whatever they wanted. This is especially important for high-ranking people whose lives are spent in front of the public. In the club, they could take a break from publicity. So, the men had their club, and the women had the family home and salons. Each club has a large staff to provide club members with everything they needed and protect them from any problems. Chefs, valets, waiters, maids. These are hundreds of people working for the club members, taking care of every detail. It should be noted that the club staff work to the highest standard, and their principal task is to ensure privacy. To this day, visitors are greeted by a doorman, the face of the club, now called Face Control. The doorman knows all the members of the club, and it is he who decides whether to let visitors in or not. If a visitor was admitted, he went to the reception room. This is the only room where a non-member of the club can be. Of course, this room was isolated from the rest of the club. The club secretary manages the staff and all finances, and also makes sure that club members always had everything they wanted. It's like running a 5-star hotel for VIP guests who had to be constantly reminded to pay their membership fees. Interestingly, food is paid for separately and in addition to club fees, although it was much better and cheaper than in a regular restaurant. In addition to clubs for aristocrats and people of art, clubs dedicated to special interests appeared. Clubs for tennis players, clubs for university graduates, clubs for doctors and lawyers, travellers, etc. People sought to join these clubs. Membership provided useful contacts, which opened the way to commerce. Many celebrities are members of clubs. For example, Winston Churchill and Ian Fleming were members of the Boodles Club. David Cameron, King Charles and Prince William are members of White's Club. The clubs grew and the selection became even more thorough, but voting was no longer held. Everything was decided by the club committee. Prestigious clubs have a waiting list. You can get into them when a place opens up or one of the members dies. Some clubs have a waiting list time of more than 1 year for the opportunity to join. During this time, the candidate is closely scrutinized. An undesirable candidate, in order to not discredit those who provided recommendations, is asked to withdraw their application. The amounts of membership fee are never disclosed. You may think gentlemen's clubs are a relic of a bygone era, but although morality has evolved since Victorian times, not only do they still exist, but new ones are opening. These clubs are international, with more liberal rules and can accept women. The Groucho, opened in 1985, features Bill Clinton and musician Noel Gallagher as members. The Ivy, opened in 2008, boasts model Kate Moss. Nevertheless, Whites, Brooks and Travellers still adhered to the old conservative rules and do not accept women, both as members and as guests. White's, the oldest gentleman club in London, made an exception only for Queen Elizabeth. There is no unambiguous answer to the question, do I need a club? If connections within the traditional British establishment are important to you, take a look at traditional clubs. If you need a place to meet and socialise with like-minded people, consider the club based on professional interests. If you have a hobby like yachting, you've probably guessed that there is a club for you. Or you could just not join any club, walk into a Starbucks and simply have a coffee.